Tractate Beitzah, page 26. The top of the page with the words Im Yesh Balmum, if it has a permanent blemish, owing to which it may be slaughtered and eaten. We're talking about, I think it's a sacrifice. If the sacrifice gets a blemish, a certain blemish that you can't bring it as a sacrifice, but you could eat it. You could slaughter it. You could slaughter and eat it. He may raise it from the cistern and slaughter it. But if it does not have a blemish, or if its blemish is temporary, he may not slaughter it. Rabbi Shimon says, even if we're talking about an animal that fell into a well, let's say a goat or something fell into a well, can you bring it out, slaughter it, whatever? So Shimon says, even if it has a blemish, it's prohibited to slaughter it as any firstborn animal whose blemish is not perceptible while it is still day. In other words, on the day before the festival, is not considered to be among the animals prepared prior to the festival for use on the festival. Okay, that's the Mishnah there. The Gemara says, the Gemara asks, with regard to what principle do Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon disagree? B'mai k'miflagi. If we say that they disagree about whether or not one may examine blemishes on a festival, such that Rabbi Yehuda holds that one may examine blemishes on a festival, and Rabbi Shimon holds that one may not examine blemishes on a festival. If so, let them disagree with regard to examining blemishes in general on a festival, and not only with respect to the particular case of a firstborn that fell into a cistern. The Gemara answers it was necessary to teach the disagreement with regard to a case of a firstborn that fell into a cistern, as it could enter your mind to say that because of the matter of the suffering of living creatures, one should employ an artifice to circumvent the halacha and raise the animal from the cistern. This would be in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehoshua, who states elsewhere in 37a, with regard to a different case, that one may employ an artifice in order to rescue an animal that fell into a cistern on a festival. Therefore, the Mishnah teaches us that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon disagree, even in the case of a firstborn that fell into a cistern. The Gemara asks, if so, if the Mishnah mentions the case of a firstborn that fell into a cistern in order to teach that an artifice may not be employed to raise the animal from the cistern, the phrase, he may not slaughter it, is inaccurate. Rather, it should have stated, he may not raise the animal and slaughter it. The Gemara answers, no. This teaching is necessary in a case where he transgressed the prohibition and already raised it, as it could enter your mind to say that he may now slaughter it. Therefore, the Mishnah teaches us that even then he may not do so. The Gemara expresses wonder at this answer. How could one think that he may now slaughter it? Isn't the animal blemished? How could one imagine that it is permitted to slaughter a firstborn that is unblemished? The Gemara answers, this teaching is necessary only in a case where it developed a blemish after it fell. The Gemara challenges this argument, but how could one think that he may now slaughter the animal? Doesn't it fall into the category of muktzah, as it was not fit to be eaten on the eve of the festival, since at that time it was still unblemished? In that case, it should remain in the category of muktzah for the duration of the festival. Let me turn off this alarm. Wow. Taking pictures. Shabbat l'chazol, Moshe Ilu yachzol. Shabbat l'chazol. Rather, the Mishnah is speaking in a case. Oh, okay, great. Nice! We're almost done here. Yeah. Rather, the Mishnah is speaking in a case where the animal developed a temporary blemish, one that might eventually heal on the eve of the festival. And now, after falling, it has a permanent blemish, lest you say that his mind was set on the animal as food already before the festival due to the temporary blemish, and therefore he should now be allowed to slaughter it. The Mishnah teaches us that since it was not fit to be eaten before the festival, it is not considered prepared for use on the festival. Rather, it falls into the category of muktzah and may not be slaughtered. Tanu Abanon. The sages taught in the following Beitzah. With regard to an unblemished firstborn that fell into a cistern on a festival, where Yehuda Hanasi says, an expert in these matters goes down into the cistern and examines the animal. If it now has a permanent blemish as a result of the fall, he may raise it from the cistern and slaughter it. But if not, then even if he proceeds to raise it, he may not slaughter it. Even if afterwards it develops a blemish, Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh said to him, the sages of earlier generations already said that one may not examine blemishes on a festival. How so? If a blemish came into being on the eve of a festival, one may not examine it on a festival itself due to see whether it in fact of the type is in fact of the type that permits the animal to be slaughtered. And if the blemish came into being on the festival itself, on 26b, Rabbi Shimon says it is not considered to be among the animals prepared. And Rabbi Yehuda and Shimon agreed that if the animal is born with its blemish, it is considered to be among the animals prepared for use on the festival. Okay, we'll continue on 26b.